before we kickstart the agenda, we'll do a quick roll call. And hopefully some of the representative from the working group are also here. But if not, we can skip over and try to get an update later. But we'll do a roll call. So core app team, any representative? I'm assuming Evan is here. Evan?
We got Evan and Callum here.
Cool.
On my mic. Evan.
Hello.
Evan and Callum, that's fine. Yeah, awesome. Strangelove, do we have anyone from Strangelove here?
Hey yo.
Hey,
we got Alex as well too.
There's a few of us.
Awesome. Anyone from the IBC team? I don't know if Susanna is here or somebody from her team. Okay. Maybe they'll be a little bit late. Anyone from Binary Builders here?
Yeah, hey, this is Bez. How's it going?
Oh,
Awesome.
shut up.
Ew.
Anyone from Informal? I think Ethan, you're on the call.
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Then we're gonna do roll call for the DA layer. I believe Renee is on the call from Celestia Node. And Iger, anyone from Iger here?
I'm from Iger.
Awesome. Okay, now let's move on to the other stuff on the call. So if anyone representative from the working group want to give an update, we'll start off with the DA working group and we'll take it from there. So I don't know if Ramin is on the call, but if somebody attended the DA working group, you want to do a quick update? If not, we can move on. That's fine. Ramin, maybe Renee, you can fill us in. I believe you guys had a call recently, and
Yes. Can you hear me fine?
yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. We had a call a few days ago to discuss CIP4, which is going to establish like a sampling window and a pruning window for the data availability network, which will be set to about 30 days. And that is now, there was like one new parameter introduced, which is that the pruning window has to be just a bit longer than the sampling window to account for clock drift. But that is, I still in review, so we need to do one more call to finalize it, and then we get it in.
Okay. That sounds good. So CIP4, I think there's a pull request as well for updating CIP4. So I caught most of it, Renee. I don't know about the rest, but I caught most of it. And basically, you guys are scoping out CIP4 now, and in the next few meetings, you'll be able to finalize it and stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. I think it's just a formality.
Okay, that sounds good. Moving on to anyone from the interface working group. I don't know if Josh or Josh Bowen is here or Glib.
Yeah, I'm here.
But if
so I can quick update. We had our last working group call last week at the same time, so on the 17th. We have a notes doc. I can share that in the Celestia Improvement Protocol Telegram chat. No kind of major action items. We're planning to run at a monthly cadence, so the next call would be planned for 3 weeks from today. Kind of existing action items we're working on is Gabriel is going to put together a CIP draft for the DA interface. We're also going to be putting together a GitHub organization and or a repo just to kind of track the specific interface working group going forward. And I'm working on gathering information on kind of where blob retrieval and submission and whatnot is happening in different code bases. So this is, people, block explorers using it, various roll-up frameworks, shared sequencers, relayers, et cetera, just so we have kind of an index of all of the people who are different kind of stakeholders interacting with various interfaces as they relate to like the broader Celestia ecosystem, but nothing kind of major for this call.
Sounds good. And the next update from the ZK working group, Saki, I believe you're on the call. Just like, I know you guys just had the call 1 hour ago and stuff. So if you maybe want to share with the rest of the group about, any updates from the group so far, like, I know it's just the first call, but I think it'll be helpful for people to understand what the working group is about.
Sure, absolutely. We just finished a 1 hour call, the first kickoff call with the ZK and the Celestia base layer working group. I guess so immediate action, the sort of high level goal of there are a number of goals for the working group, to highlight and discuss potential applications of ZK that would be integrated into Celestia base layer, things like ZK proving the erasure coded scheme, but also things like snark accounts that Mustafa proposed earlier, and there's been a bunch of research on that, and Succinct is doing some prototyping on, and continue to discuss this. And then the other thing is probably it seems like the core mission, or the immediate action items, is to propose a state interface and a specific proving system. And the current sort of thing for the next meeting is to discuss the straw man of why would we not just incorporate NARC, the consensus's Go Snark library into the base layer, and make that the 2024 target, and everybody and encourage teams that are building application layer things to try to build those things on top of those on that proving system, and then propose specific CIPs for that. So we're going to discuss that, try and understand pros and cons, potentially propose a cadence of other proving systems, and there's interesting trade-offs that exist, so in sort of zero expressivity land, there's pre-processing snarks, which all have a very simple state interface, and a very simple verification interface where you just have a verification key. But then in other kinds of snarks that exist, that give you big benefits in proving times, you could have systems where you need to be able to the verifier needs to be expressive enough to be able to say okay, we're going to do a sequence of subcircuits, and we're using these gadgets and stuff like that, and then that might require some sort of scripting language of some kind to be embedded. So these are the questions that are being discussed, and it seems like we very quickly surfaced the sum of many years of informal conversations and random conversations that have been added into one place, and there will be a GitHub repo and notes, and there's a Telegram group where all of these things will be sort of followed up on. We will have another meeting in 2 weeks.
I'm guessing that Yas dropped out.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's give him a minute, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to CIP 6. Okay, so I think next up we have CIP 6 is going to last call. So if Callum is here, or someone else from the core and app team potentially.
Yeah.
Hello.
So sorry, I was gone last call. Do you mind refreshing my memory for CIP6?
It's the price enforcement one.
Oh, the price
Yeah.
enforcement. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's going to last call, and the concept is very simple. Like it's just sort of setting a minimum price for gas that's enforced at the consensus layer. That's sort of like hard coded or changeable by governance. It's a
Hey
pretty
guys, I think my internet kind of broke down, so I'm using my phone Wi-Fi. Care Bear, if you don't mind, can you remove the other Yes Query co-host thing? And Josh Stein, if you don't mind, can you start doing the share screen instead? Because I'm using my phone right now, if that's okay.
Care Bear, do you mind sharing your screen with the agenda? Because I'm jumping around a lot.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
Give me
you.
a second, please.
I also don't know if my internet's stable enough.
Okay. Let me see if I can reconnect.
Share the screen.
Sorry about that, like spotty Wi-Fi at the Airbnb. Okay, the last thing I was saying, I think, I think Zaki, just to add on top, if any of you on the call are interested in any of the kind of work being done in those working groups, feel free to ping me and I'll connect you to the right co-chair or chair of the working group in case you guys want to participate in those working groups. Next up, we have a bunch of stuff on the agenda. So CIP6, if you guys don't mind clicking on it, now has been moved to last call status, with the last call deadline ending in a week, so next Tuesday. We don't have to scroll through it all, but if you just go back, actually, can you just go back to CIP6? I'm just want to see the preamble. So that's the one about price enforcement by Callum. And yeah, so now it's all. So what's going to happen? This is a last call review period before it becomes a final status for this specification by Callum. So the action item is you guys have a week to review it. And if you find any like technical issues with the proposal, you can always raise them on the forum post, and that would like, and if the authors are like and the court deem it like critical, we can move it back from last call back to review status so that it can be updated. So it ends in a week on Tuesday, and yeah, this is the update on CIP6. If you guys don't mind going backward. Any feedback so far? If you guys have any kind of review comment, I would prefer if you guys do it on the forum post. You can ask Callum maybe if there's something you want to talk about, but otherwise we can move on. 30 seconds if you guys have anything you want to add. Okay, let's move on to CIP 10. CIP 10, I just care about the preamble. You don't have to go all the way because people can click on it anyways. But this is also by Callum. It's the coordinated network upgrades proposal. It's currently in review status, which means it's open for review. You guys can review it, check it out. You can discuss on the forum as well if you want to. And if you have any feedback and or concerns or anything that you want to add there and stuff to the proposal. Callum, do you have any kind of questions on the proposal that maybe you want to get feedback on and stuff? But if not, we can just move on.
Sorry.
There's nothing really from my side. Yeah, and if you have any questions, bring it up.
Okay, sounds good. So CIP 10 is currently in review status. So you guys feel free to review it. This is a call by the author to have other people review it for feedback. Next, we're going to go to CIP 9 and review, which was, I believe, the packet forward middleware by Alex from, I believe, Strangelove. So yeah, now it's currently in review status. So after a certain period, if if it's deemed ready for last call, we can move it for like a final revision period. But for now, you guys can check it out. If you have any kind of comments or item to discuss, you can discuss it on the forum post. And Alex, do you have any questions for people to take a look at and stuff? If not, that's totally fine. We can move on.
No, please, have any comments or feedback, yeah, to the forum, we'll get back to you. How long do the IPs stay in review before they go to last call?
It depends. So like if you deem it ready, like if you got any kind of feedback or you think there's no feedback and it's because I believe the packet forward middleware is already an existing specification in the Cosmos ecosystem. I could be mistaken. But I think on that, moving it to last call, moving it to last call, we would also need to get the rough consensus of the core dev that is ready for last call, that they don't see anything critical there and stuff, before it becomes final. So I would say like giving it like a couple weeks in review status. And then, by the next time, if there's any other comments on this proposal, we can move it to last call.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. CIP 12 is next. So CIP 12 is the ICS 29 relayer incentivization middleware. That's by, I believe, the IBC team. And it's currently has been moved to review status. And I believe one of the authors, Suzanne, is here. The same kind of feedback I gave Alex. We can keep it in review for like a couple weeks until the next call. And if there's any kind of feedback, or concerns or anything like that, we can then move it to a final last call. And I believe ICS 29 already a specified proposal that exists in the Cosmos. The proposal here is about adding it to Celestia specifically. Susanna, any kind of comment or feedback or question that you might have for the group while it's in review status?
No, that's all correct. Sounds great. And I guess can keep things to the forum and answer there if there's any questions or follow-ups.
Sounds good. Now let's go backward. So now there's CIP 14. I believe this is the ICA proposal. So I think for this one, Susanna, since it's the first time it's being presented as a draft status, I think it's helpful to go over the proposal, if you don't mind.
Is Aiden here?
I think Aiden.
Yeah, I'm also here.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
Yeah, if you feel free,
whoever
whoever from the authors wants to present it, it's not a problem.
Yeah, no problem. So this is CIP 14. What is it? It's a proposal to add interchain accounts to Celestia as defined by ICS 27, in particular the host implementation. ICA is a cross-chain account management protocol built on IBC. The way it works under the hood is ICS 27 implementation consists of a module at both ends of an IBC channel. So the one we're proposing adding to Celestia is the host module. This acts as the account manager and message recipient. So the controller module on an external chain would send messages to be executed on the host chain, which is Celestia in this case. It's been live on many IBC-enabled blockchains for a long time. So Cosmos Hub, Osmosis, Neutron, Stride. The IBC Go implementation, I believe, was implemented by the IBC Go team. I think Susanna can talk a bit more about that. The thinking for adding it is ICA host would make Celestia more interoperable with other IBC protocols. So the main use case today is liquid staking. Use cases in general depend on the chain. So for Osmosis, for example, some other use cases besides liquid staking are pooling LP funds. In general, anything that an EOA could do, an ICA could also do in theory. So it's typically useful if users want to automate things and aggregate actions or funds. Yaz, what's the best way to that's kind of the high level overview. Happy to answer questions or go into more technical detail.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think there might be questions by maybe the core dev, because I remember when there was a pull request, there was some discussion points. I don't know if these been answered or not, but like I think that'll be a great opportunity to ask those questions from the core and app team.
Yeah, I guess I commented, but Aiden has already answered my question, so I don't really need to talk about it here.
Okay, in that case, do you consider the proposal as is sufficient for actually requesting reviews, Aiden? Like, is it ready, or does it require, does it have missing sections and stuff, or is it ready for review?
Yeah, the only missing section is test cases. Other than that, it's ready for review.
Okay, sounds good. So I think one action item is if you can submit maybe you can talk to Evan and Rutul and Callum about it, but if you can complete, add to the testing cases if it's necessary, they would have the best context on that. And then feel free to make a pull request adding to that section and updating it to review status. That means it signals that the authors are ready for the proposal to be reviewed.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Sounds good. Next one is CIP 15. I believe the author Rutul and Gabriel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Rutul, you want to kick it off?
Sure, I can quickly talk about this. So it was just merged recently, so I feel like most people probably haven't had a chance to read it. But the idea behind CIP 15 is to discourage memo usage. That's transaction memo usage. And I guess like a follow-on from that is to actually encourage blob data usage. So, the whole point of Celestia. But we can talk about the details on why we want that. But the two kind of changes that this proposal includes are two governance param changes. One to the max memo characters and one to the transaction size cost per byte. So I think the big highlight is if you currently use the transaction memo on Celestia and it's particularly long, like over 16 characters, please come talk to us. I think we're aware of 3 use cases that do this currently, and we want to account for them and plan around that. The 3 that we're aware of are inscriptions types projects. So if you've seen CIAS, the second is Hermes relayers, who kind of throw a lot of information like debug diagnostic information in the transaction memo. And then the third use case is centralized exchanges. When users deposit into some certain centralized exchanges, they're asked to include a memo to uniquely identify the depositor into the exchange. So if you're not one of those 3 cases and you use the memo, we'd love to talk to you just to make sure this proposal doesn't, break something. And then the other change is kind of like a repricing, like a gas schedule change, which I don't expect to break certain things. It's actually a really conservative change, but it might make certain types of transactions a little bit more expensive gas-wise. So that's the idea and the proposal. And yeah, that's about it.
Alrighty, sounds
Just
good.
to,
So yeah, go
I
ahead.
ask one quick question. Sorry, I appreciate the background, Riddle. So this right now, as I understand it, and as you're describing it, applies exclusively to transaction memos as opposed to IBC memos. But I did just want to bring up, one, there is this additional field that exists in IBC packets that allows you to add characters in the same way. And 2, we use that really extensively for kind of programming into an IBC packet, kind of additional instructions for that packet to execute on. remote chains, and if the memo were shortened similarly to how we're shortening transaction memos here, that would create some significant problems for us.
Right, totally agree.
I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, we have no plans on decreasing that ICS 20 memo length. One thing worth calling out is since the auth transaction size cost per byte in this proposal increases from 10 to 16, that would make transactions that have really huge ICS 20 memos a little bit more expensive. But yeah, that's not the goal of this proposal. This is just transaction memos. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, super helpful.
So would this kill the relayers, including the relayed from? Like they'd only have 16 characters to state that?
Yeah, this would so for Hermes relayers that specify a memo that's like relayed by, I don't know, Zondin, pipe, and then the giant like Hermes debug information. So basically like the release and the version, and then the hermes.informalsystems.com. That message is too long, right? It doesn't fit in 16 characters. So that would break. So we're talking to them about it. But this wouldn't break transferring from Osmosis to Celestia and then swapping and then, you know, like the ICS middleware stuff. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would be good to at least preserve a long enough memo that the basic like relayer version stuff is able to be tracked. I also
totally
don't
agree.
I also don't know. I mean, 16 is a little short. I know I see here that the exchanges currently all seem to fit into that. The max is 13, but I can imagine that might, you know, they might want to exchange. I don't actually know what they're putting in those memos, but if they're like identifying users and stuff, perhaps they're going to want more space there. So that just might, you know, it might be worth setting something a little bit more future proof than 16 and just let the like cost cover it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah, we can definitely fudge that number. Like 16 isn't agreed upon yet.
Yeah, like presumably 32 would be enough to stop, you know, the inscription stuff, but still give space for, you know, debug and other sort of basic integration use cases that might be important to preserve. But anyway, we can take that to the forum.
Okay. Yeah, I would also recommend if you guys had more questions and stuff on this to also, you know, you can find the discussion forum here if you guys want to talk more about this and stuff if you have further questions. And Rutul, once you deem it ready for review and stuff, I would just recommend updating the status in a PR for review. And yeah. Any other further questions on the proposal? It seems like there might be discussion on the chat. I don't know if Rutul, you took a look at them.
Yeah, I can respond on the chat, I guess.
Sounds good. Next up, we're gonna move to CIP 13. So this one, I'm the author of it. So basically, it's pretty with Evan. So basically, this is a really straightforward kind of CIP. But the outcome of it is not like a final status, but more like a living document for on-chain governance parameter for the Celestia network, where basically it provides a list of all on-chain governance parameters that exist on mainnet and what are their status and actual values. And based on, for example, Rutul's proposal, like if CIP 15 goes to final and then there's an execution on chain to update those values, then in this CIP, we would update the values accordingly. So basically the point of this CIP 13 is just to provide a reference point for folks, if they want to, like, if you want to know what are the current up-to-date values on mainnet for all the different governance parameters, you can find them here, basically. And it'll be a living document that continuously be, updated, which is the same way that CIP1 is a living document. That will be the point of this. It doesn't really propose any changes. It's just more like a snapshot capture of what is available on mainnet at the moment, which makes it easier to reference in the future CIPs and stuff. It's currently in draft status. I'm probably going to move it to review status later, but I just wanted to give the floor for anyone if they have any questions about this. Alrighty. You can always use the forum post to, if you have any feedback on CIP 13. And I think now we reach the end of all the proposals for discussion. Now, one action item that I would recommend doing for the scope of the core dev call. So the way to think about the core dev call is also it is a working group for the core and consensus layer for Celestia. The same way we have different working groups working on subsections of Celestia, this one will also focuses on the core protocol itself, like at least when it comes to consensus and all other things. And what I would recommend is for the next call, maybe we can start scoping out what we want to see in potentially like a future upgrade on Celestia, and what kind of CIPs we want to include in such a future upgrade. So I think I would leave that as an exercise for next time. And I'm hoping, the core app team can lead the way in coordination with all the other external core dev teams participating in the call so that we can start scoping out what we want in a future upgrade for Celestia and what CIP are candidates for inclusion. And, that way we can start the process there and, move forward with that. How does that sound for everyone? Sounds good. I got a thumbs up. Anyone had any concern and stuff? I think that's the best way to go about it because I think that's the whole point of the core dev call, which is, to scope out what changes need to be activated at some point. So by next meeting, which we will schedule, I believe, for 2 weeks time, probably not going to be on a Wednesday. Either going to be on a Tuesday or Thursday. So look out later. I'll post the updates for the next call later. And then we can get started, with any kind of future proposals being submitted and scoping out what the hard fork for Celestia will look like. And then we can create a meta CIP that kind of captured all the changes we want in that hard fork. And with that said, if there's no more questions, I can end the call and we can have 25 minutes back from our time. But if you guys have any feedback or question, now's the time. Alrighty, sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for joining the call. Pretty exciting stuff, especially all this stuff happening in all the different working groups and all the proposals being submitted today. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all in 2 weeks time. Take care.
Thanks.